If you have been watching my videos on the former Maine Central Mountain Division in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, you know that there's multiple projects going on looking to bring back freight service on different portions of the line. One section is from Whitefield, New Hampshire to Gilman, Vermont, with the possibility of eventually continuing on to St. Johnsbury, Vermont. This is being done by the Vermont Rail System because they purchased the New Hampshire Central Short Line in 2024. Brush cutting and repair work has already started on that stretch, but the other big project is not that far along yet. About an hour away from VRS's project, the Conway Scenic is looking to restore the mountain division from Fryeburg, Maine to Portland, Maine, with a focus on serving local freight customers. The tracks are mostly in place on this stretch, but rail to trail advocates are also looking to get this rail line for cyclists to use. I have other videos covering this topic and the political processes that Conway has gone through to make this a reality, but this video will focus on something I have yet to cover. That being the short section of track from the state line at Fryeburg, Maine to the already operational Conway Scenic portion of the line at the Saco River Bridge in Conway, New Hampshire. The rails are in place, but simply not used since they lead to the currently unused main portion of the line. If Conway is successful in getting the main portion of the line saved, they would have to reactivate this short stretch on the New Hampshire side of the railroad to connect with the rest of the track they already operate. While it seems the freight interest is only in Maine, since that's been the focus in previous videos, there's some potential for freight in New Hampshire, and it would travel over this currently unused track. On April 15, 2025, the owner of the Conway Scenic presented info on the company's reactivation plans to the Town of Brownfield, Maine. Quoting a Conway Daily Sun article covering this presentation, David Swirk, who acquired the Conway Scenic Railroad in 2018, said he would like to move freight from North Conway east to Portland. He said, CSRR, as a heritage railroad, would continue its excursion runs through Crawford Notch and from North Conway to Conway. He described the railroad as an internationally known economic engine for the region and said adding a freight division would make CSRR more sustainable. He then went on to talk about some of the potential freight traffic, including propane, trash, lumber, and steel, that would move through Maine. The trash could potentially get loaded at a proposed facility in Brownfield, Maine, and relevant to the New Hampshire portion of the line, he would like to construct a facility in New Hampshire as well. Building rail transfer stations to load trash and construction demolition debris into rail cars is getting pretty popular in New England. There are a number of these located in Southeastern Mass, and these have honestly been a lifesaver for certain rail lines in that area. It, of course, is also a lifesaver for the environment, road congestion, and highway wear and tear that trucks put into the roads every day. Now, this potential NH trash traffic would go over the rails focused on in this video, so let's move on to what those tracks look like today. Starting at East Conway Road in Conway NH, we are standing at an in-service but very rarely used crossing. The tracks here are active right up until the Saco River Bridge and were actually put back into service this far just a few years ago, I believe sometime around 2019. I was able to film a train here that year when a special excursion led by 252 on one end and steam locomotive 7470 on the other end made a side trip this way before continuing up the notch. Two clips of that train are included at the end of this video, but if you want to watch the full thing, I have linked that video in the video description. Today the tracks look like this though, and don't see much use until you reach Mountain Junction west of here. There the Conway branch, which runs to the famous North Conway station and CSRR's base of operation, meets the Mountain Division. From East Conway to Mountain Junction, most of the track is in fantastic shape, having been rebuilt by NHDOT in the early 2000s. Back to East Conway Road, you'll notice the Saco River Bridge has the tracks covered over, I believe for snowmobilers to use the right-of-way in the winter. I suspect that the extra decking and the lumber underneath would need to be removed and bridge timbers replaced before trains cross this bridge again. Moving on down the line, we find ourselves at a dirt road crossing called Burbank Street. The tracks here are pretty clear for a line not used since the 1980s. A small siding is also located along the main track here. Given how clear the line is and the fact that the rail is intact, it probably wouldn't take much to get it back in service. Jumping down to the Route 302 crossing, we find similar conditions. The tracks themselves are still in the pavement and are relatively clear on both sides. The next stop on this stretch is actually in Maine, where I can zoom into the state line. Note the sign at left which shows the division point between New Hampshire and Maine. The main portion of the line is much clearer than the unused NH side, and this will help with the reactivation efforts. While I don't cover east of here in this video, you can see some footage of the main portion of the line by clicking the links in the video description. Speaking about the main side, the bill LD 676, which sought to approve funding to remove the tracks in Maine, was voted by the Transportation Committee ought not to pass. This doesn't mean the line is saved just yet, but is a significant milestone that should be celebrated. Thank you to all those who wrote in to the Maine website to voice their opinion, in addition to those who took the time to show up in person. There are many more steps to getting this project off the ground, so stay tuned for more updates on this line right here on my channel. In the meantime, enjoy this footage of a rare mileage excursion right up to the Saco River Bridge in 2019.